I'm really pleased to introduce Manny, who is from the Navajo Nation. I first met him at an event maybe 6 months ago. It's really an honor for me to have him here with us, and I want to honor him. Many of the Native American and First Nation communities all over North America have been right at the forefront of the climate change battles that are taking place, both in Canada and the US. And across the globe, they are often at the heart of preserving habitat, preserving land, in the Amazon, for example. And to a great extent, these communities understand sustainability in ways that we can't as Westerners who think that land is a commodity, that animals are a commodity, everything has a price tag. So thank you, Manny, for coming. And do you need the mic or?
Sure, I'll use it just for the speaking part. So good morning. I'm going to do a formal Navajo introduction, just because that's the way that I was taught. When presenting, you want to come as your full self. So you want to bring in all of your ancestors. The tribe that I come from is the Navajo Nation, the Navajo tribe. We call ourselves the Dene. And when we talk about who we are as Dene, we talk about, especially as a Dene man, we talk about that we're the son of my mother, who's the daughter of her mother, who's the daughter of her mother, and that matrilineal legacy goes back to the time of creation, according to our Navajo ways. Excuse me. So Yate Bene means a good day. Shie Manny Lieras Yinshe Twodischini Bashishchin Nakai Dene Dashanale. So what I just did in a brief 10 seconds is give you my full lineage from the time of creation to modern day. I told you what clans I come from on my matrilineal side, and I told you what clans I come from on my paternal side. I also come from the Comanche people. And so I'm really honored to be here today to just hear one about what you all in this room are embarking on, the journey of clean building and renewable energy, and the transition from the historic models that have plagued this country, and not only this country, but plagued the world with a lot of just pollution, inappropriate extraction, and waste. And so I want to start off today just really quickly by reading just a little part of, there's an organization that I'm a part of just down the street called the American Indian Child Resource Center. It's where I work full-time. I work with our young people within the Oakland Unified School District, as well as in the city of Oakland and the larger Alameda County. We talk about culture, we talk about language, we talk about land in ways that it's a ways of connecting and creating relationships with, not just to exploit or as a profit margin. And there's a conference that we attend every year called the Pioneers Conference, and this year the Indigenous Environmental Network proposed a just transition plan for several different entities to take up. And I want to read just a small piece of one of their platforms. So it says, a legacy of exploitation, ecocide, and environmental, energy, climate, and economic injustice. So there are new forms of federal energy legislation with false incentives, and they're designed to encourage the expansion of extraction and industrial scale development on or near indigenous lands and territories by outside corporate interests. So I just want to leave that with you all, because there's these narratives within our governmental systems, within our municipal systems, that say that it's okay to take part in these types of legacies of destruction. And I think it's really important when we have a room like this of people involved in several different components to really start to examine how we can be better for our children and for our children's children. And again, as I introduced myself, I talked about my lineage from my greatest grandmother to present day, and that legacy that she left behind so that I can even introduce myself in that way. We want to make sure that we leave a legacy behind that that possesses integrity at all different levels, not just within our bank accounts or our corporate status, but in the legacy of who we are as people and how we walked on this planet. What I want to do for you all really quickly is I want to share some songs and some blessings with you all. I'm not a self-proclaimed medicine man at all, but I know that there's powers within these drums. And again, you might think like power, like you can't even plug that thing in. And I'm going to show you really quickly the power that these things possess and the power that this intentional song will create as far as a ripple effect to make sure that the rest of today and the rest of these trainings, the rest of this workshop, the rest of this cohort really go through with some really good vibrations, some really good intentions. And so if you could all bear with me for a second. I do this all the time with little kids and middle-aged people, and it always has the same effect. So if I can get you to participate just really quickly, is I need everybody in here to find your pulse. If you can't find your pulse, raise your hand and we'll call emergency services right away and get you hauled out of here. But just find your pulse. Everybody, please. Nobody's beyond this. So just find your pulse and hold your pulse, okay? Hold it until I tell you to stop. Everybody have their pulse? All right, check this out. Everybody got it? All right. Anybody in the back of the room experience your pulse speed up as the drum sped up? Your hands raised. Anybody up front? Anybody experience that? Anybody experience it slow down as the drum beat slowed down? All right, so there's that power. Anybody know why that happened? Oh, great, I get to break it down. It sounds smart. So it happens because I can tell you that even if this room was completely deaf or completely hard of hearing or just was born without ears and eardrums, the same exact thing would have happened. Now anybody know why? Because this drum, when I hit this drum, what happens is it pushes waves through the air that we can't see, right? But we can hear them, so we know that they're real. But if we couldn't hear them, we would still know that they're real because they travel through the air and we can't see them, but they hit our bodies. And our bodies are made up mostly of what element, everybody? Water. Water has this unique ability to absorb sound. And so when we talk about in our communities the sacredness of water, we don't only talk about it in the form of water that you can drink, but even the water that's in your own body. You know, when I work with the young people that I work with, we talk about water being sacred, water being an element that you want to protect. And not only just in the rivers and the streams, like you wouldn't go and pour, pollution into the rivers, but yet our kids will sit there and drink soda pop left and right. Our adult communities will drink alcohol left and right and poison their own water. Yet these are the systems that we've been taught that don't exist within us as human beings. We're taught that we are different from the natural world. Yet we all know that we're the same molecular structure, the same stuff that exists out there in the dirt and in the trees is the same fundamental building blocks that establish us as human beings. We just have this brain which allows us to disassociate ourselves sometimes because of our classical conditioning. So that was a little reason why I bring these drums in, because it shows the power of our indigenous teachings and our indigenous abilities to draw connection, to draw relations. At one point in time, this drum was alive and well and walking around. And then this drum became my dinner. It became my drum. It became a dress for my wife. It became so many different things because, again, in our communities, we still try to uphold and maintain the integrity of, if we're going to go out and capture an elk, we're going to use every part of that we can so that none of it goes to waste, so that none of it is underappreciated. And so what I want to do for you all is I want to just sing a quick song for you all, just to again set the tone for this this learning curve to continue to do the great work that it's intended to do. That this conference be a place where knowledge is transferred, and that where nobody's ego gets in the way of really taking steps for a better future. And so if you bear with me, I was taught that during these times, if you want to stand, you're more than welcome to stand. The only thing I'm going to ask you all, especially if you're brave enough to, is just to remove your head cover. And the only reason I'm going to ask you to do that is in the way that I was taught. And it's really, really interesting. I went and had my first massage ever after the holiday. My wife bought me a massage. And the first thing they did when I went into the massage is they started rubbing on your soft spot here for like minutes. Like I felt like somebody was giving me a what's it called?
Noogies.
Yeah, a noogie. And I was like, why did my wife pay for this? And when I realized what was going on was that all that masseuse was doing was just opening up that portal of connection to the divine world. That's one of the things that we're taught in our Navajo ways, that this is our direct connection to from everything that's in the heavens, and we serve as a conduit and ground us right into the ground. And so that's the only reason why I would ask you to do that, is to open yourself up for this opportunity for enlightenment and to experience this in the way that it's supposed to be intended. This song that I'm going to sing for you all today is composed by a good friend of mine. His name is Junior Keyswood. He lives out in Shiprock, New Mexico, and in some way, shape, or form, we're relatives. And this is a song for anybody who just needs that little bit of lift. Whether it's in your personal life, in your relational life, in your work life, in your career, whatever it is. Just that little boost. You may be even feeling a little fatigue, or the weather's getting you down, whatever it is. These are those songs that help to encourage and uplift. So I'm going to sing one for you all today. Song and hopefully with some of the words and the things we talked about, when we talk about how we move forward in a world of construction and of extraction in ways that are more green and renewable, it's a huge challenge. Yet there is a bunch of technologies, and I thank you for talking about those technologies that help to create the bridge between what's been done and what the possibilities are. And not only what the possibilities are for that transition, but also for economic growth. There's a lot of money to be made in the transitions into green and renewable energy. And so I applaud you all for being here to take the time here at these forums or at this discussion, and wish you all the best in the rest of the days to come. So that's how we say thank you.